Entrepreneurially Thinking is a presentation of BioSTL and CET, Center for Emerging Technologies, with RareGem Productions, changing the way you view new ventures, including you on the pathway to success with your business in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. Here's your hosts, Cheryl and Christy. Now let's get thinking entrepreneurially.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurially Thinking podcast. Our goal is to energize your entrepreneurial mindset and create pathways for business success in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. I'm Christy Maxfield. I am the Director of Entrepreneur Development Services at the Center for Emerging Technologies.
And I'm Cheryl Watkins-Moore, Director of Bioscience and Entrepreneurial Inclusion for BioSTL.
Great. And as you know, if you've been listening for a while, you know that we like to step outside our comfort zone.
All the way.
And the podcast is the epitome of that. So we are excited that you can come join us and think about your business in new ways and take the constraints off of how you view your current and future endeavors. You can join us and stay in touch with us at Entrepreneurially Thinking's community at entrepreneuriallythinking.com. Follow us with the hashtag ETHINKSTL and find us on your favorite streaming platforms, as well as on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and other sites on the web. So
that's a mouthful.
Well, I know there's lots of places to find us. So we've got to remind people all the different ways that they can stay in touch.
Yes, yes.
So today we're talking with Emily Woods. She is the new member ambassador for the TechShop here in St. Louis. Brandy new.
Yes.
Everything still has that new equipment smell. Is that a thing?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And St. Louis is just the most recent in a worldwide network of open access makerspace locations. So the maker movement has grown exponentially over the last several years, and TechShop uses a membership-based DIY model for workshop and fabrication tools. And it's really changing the size and scale of what's possible for dreamers in our community. So
and folks who are creative just like to tinker around.
Oh, I've got a maker at home, so we know what that's like.
That's great.
So we're excited to talk with Emily about what it means to be the new member ambassador, the TechShop experience, and her thoughts on the future of work, as well as her thoughts on St. Louis as she is a new St. Louisan.
She's from the West Coast, a West Coast girl from the Bay.
Well, you know, she'll school us, we'll school her, it'll all be good.
That's right. That's right. That'll be great.
So we'll be right back and we'll get that conversation started.
Now here's Make It Happen with Keith Sales Pro.
Today, what really drives you? What is it that you would do for free every day of the week, 12 hours of the day? We call that your passion. How do you turn your passion into a paycheck? As you look where you are in life, is it where you want to be? Is it a job going nowhere fast? If you are clocking in every day and hate your job, the people you work with or for, and even hate your paycheck, then you're committing career suicide. When we discover that thing that we love to do every day and truly enjoy it, that's passion. Passion is when your love of the job or duty supersedes a paycheck. Are you pursuing your passion? Today, remember, it can happen. It will happen. And together, we will make it happen.
Follow Keith Sales Pro on Facebook or Twitter at Keith Sales Pro, or visit his website at keithsalespro.com.
It can happen. It will happen. And together, we will make it happen.
Hi, I'm Jade Harrell, founder and executive producer of RareGem Productions. And entrepreneurially thinking means to me that you take time to actually think about yourself as an entrepreneur, what your opportunities are, what you want to do, and how you're going to design this life.
Emily, so if you could get us started telling us a little bit about yourself, describing what TechShop is, and give us some thoughts on being new to the city.
Absolutely. Well, thank you first for having me on your show. I'm very excited. I have a very interesting background. I've always been, I would say, a home DIYer.
Really?
Yes.
So you were building stuff in your house?
I tried. It was more because my father made us. He was, I wouldn't say he made us. He just inspired us. We grew up with.
That means code word made you.
There's probably some sort of allowance tied to that.
Allowance is always nice as a kid. Yeah, but my father was really impressive. I mean, if there was ever an issue, darn remote control doesn't work or something like that. My computer is down, this or that. I'm frustrated with my binders. He's like, fix it.
Wow.
What? Yeah, fix it. Why not? Fix it. Okay. Physically. And then, you have to get through all of that with Dad. And so there was no such thing as buying a new one, right? So that was always entertaining. But
we need to take that to my household, but go ahead.
absolutely. So kind of, grew up as a homemaker, if you will, from a young age. And I actually went to University of California in Santa Cruz and studied redwood trees, coastal redwood trees. And I had a lot of fun because I got to create my own research project, which was really amazing just because I didn't have a lot of the tools accessible. So I made them. And that was a really interesting environment to sort of grow my education, took it to a completely different level.
This is so interesting because as we talk about, STEM learning and that
the intersection of industries.
Yes. I mean, this is totally a STEM learning opportunity. You didn't have the tools. You were looking at analyzing redwood trees. I mean, this is all crossing these industries and then you being very creative to say, well, how can I analyze this if I don't have the tools? That's I think of something very cool in your background and how that's impacted you moving forward. Maybe you can talk more about.
And tell us what one of those tools is.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to know what kind of tool you need to extract said material from redwood trees and get what you need.
Well, what I used to extract the piece of the core is actually, I was never very technical with what I used, but it was I guess you could call it a core, if you will. It's a T-shaped, and what you do is you first push it into the bark of the redwood tree. Now, the bark of redwood tree is very soft and malleable, which is great. It's what protects the tree. So once you get past that, that's the hard part. So it's almost like, when you're taking the cork out of a wine bottle.
I was thinking that.
Similar to that.
Apple core. Don't they have apple cores that are similar to that?
So imagine a T-shape goes into the redwood tree and you're twisting it, and then you get to the center. Now, it's the center because you've measured it, so you know how far that corkscrew has gone through. So after you measure out the distance of the tree, because you can look at, the tree from, if you will, the side angle, and you measure how deep in, and you can kind of guesstimate how far the core is going to go. Once you get to that point, you actually have this needle that you stick into the core. So it goes all the way through, and then you slowly twist it, and that needle is now carving out a sample. So you pull out that sample. And so I was really lucky in that, the trees that we had were second growth. So they weren't that big, so it wasn't very hard to pull out these samples. The tool that I had to make in the lab was actually something that would just hold it in. So fortunately, there was a TA who was awesome. He really enjoyed my project that I was working on just because there weren't any other students who were out there, at 7 a.m. trying to core redwood trees in the forest behind the classrooms. But he was really helpful, and he and I did a lot of research to figure out, okay, how can we look at this core samples, once we've extracted them from the trees, and we noticed that, if we made what I would call a Dewey Dad. Have you ever played Scrabble?
Yes.
So if you play the game Scrabble and you have your little tiles set up in that wood piece there, it was like that, but it was longer. And that's what we would put the core samples in, and we had to take actually wood glue and glue them in, tape it down, and then let them dry out in the sun. And this was the best way that we could preserve these core samples.
So, I mean, just curious.
Experimentation.
I know we're going off topic here, but how was this traditionally done? I mean, did you create now a new technology?
I wouldn't say I created a new technology. I was probably doing something many other people have done. Great minds think alike. That was not too humble of
innovation.
Me, innovation. Absolutely. I'm sure many other people have done the same thing. It's just that there are, universities who are doing this to a much more extreme level. For me, this was just a fun undergraduate senior thesis that I came up with. And, my professors at UC Santa Cruz were like, heck yeah, girl. Go get it. Have fun. Have fun. I go, absolutely. Wow. So, it was just a lot of experimentation in the labs trying to figure out how to best help my own project. So, kind of started off there.
So really a mindset of being able to troubleshoot and problem solve from the very beginning.
Absolutely.
You feel like that comes to you kind of naturally?
Very much so. And again, it kind of goes back to how my parents raised us.
I was going to say,
problem solve.
Yeah, exactly.
There's always an answer. It may not be the first one that you think of, but
it's not no right or wrong. It's
experimentation.
Experiment till you innovate, right?
Exactly.
Very cool.
So that's been a lot of fun. And another part that I really enjoy in my life at this point is that I'm also I sit on the board of directors for a therapeutic makerspace for people with autism.
Oh, interesting.
So talk about troubleshooting.
Yeah.
The founder, Janet Lawson, she's absolutely amazing. And she noticed that, in her therapy practices with her clients that they were having a hard time opening up. And the way she was able to get them engaged in conversation and better express themselves was by using their hands, physically making something that helped them communicate.
And connect.
And connect. Exactly. So I had the wonderful opportunity of working with Janet and Dan, and they have just taught me so much with how to communicate with other human beings and how we can do that in this community of makers. I mean, it's not just for any one type of person, it's for everyone. And it can be used in so many different ways. And for example, with Autistry, it's therapeutic for people.
Yes.
And
there's more than one way to reach people, because I know sometimes they talk about children with autism or people with autism. Music is another way to communicate.
So the senses.
Yeah, I never heard of the tactile, being able for them to make, build, or utilize that type of strategy to get them to communicate. Really interesting.
Absolutely.
And what I would think there's a corollary too, because a lot of makers probably are solitary folks who are working in their own small workshops, and TechShop really explodes that.
Yes.
Am I right? Like 18,000 square feet. $1 million worth of equipment. So if I walk into TechShop St. Louis as a maker who's been tinkering in my garage or my basement, tell me what I would see, because this is a bit different than...
It is a bit different.
Your man cave.
Right.
It is
or woman
cave.
Ultimate
Thank you.
human cave,
It's
if
the
you will.
human cave, yes.
TechShop is really, it's a very fascinating place. You walk in and you're greeted by folks behind the front desk who are also designers and makers in their own respect. Everyone that works there is a maker of some sort. I personally believe that humans in general are makers, whether we think it or not. So you walk in, you have this awesome staff who's like, hey, how are you? What are you doing today?
Just like the Walmart greeter, but just for the innovations.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
And then, you come into TechShop and you see, a metal shop, a machine shop, wood shop, laser cutters, 3D printers, full textiles area with a long arm quilter, a 10 colors CNC embroidery machine.
Probably things that folks couldn't even imagine, especially if they're tinkering in their own little spaces.
It takes it up a notch.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, how many people have a water jet in their basement, right? Probably not.
Not yet, but thank you for bringing one so that we don't have to.
You're welcome,
because when
husband.
I saw the spray booth, I explained to my husband how this would be a lovely use of his membership dollars, would be to come use your spray booth at your house.
Not in your basement.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow, because you guys had a wonderful launch. What, about 2 weeks away? 2 weeks ago?
About 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks now.
Yeah, Christy stood in that line, for an hour, right?
Yeah, because I have a maker and he needs to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And, what I alluded to before is makers aren't necessarily the first to go out and meet new people.
Right.
Now I'm generalizing, and I know I'm generalizing, so forgive me, makers who are more
talking about her
extroverted. But my Chris, once you get him going, can't make him stop. He'll tell you stories for days.
Oh, yeah.
But in general...
Yeah.
Folks who are used to making oftentimes are used to making. It's not unlike our scientists in our labs at CET, right? They're used to being in a fairly small space with a finite number of people and some really complex tools. So I think having that welcoming nature, and what I think is contagious is that the folks at TechShop are as enthusiastic about what everyone wants to make as they are.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't always get that.
No. Well, and that's the amazing part about our community. It's such an innovative community on so many different levels. I mean, we have kids who come in after school. We have entrepreneurs. We have, people who are prototyping for other companies, some biomedical prototypers who are coming through. We have folks like myself who are home DIYers that just need to fix something or get their hands on something. Really, it's all over the place. And having such a diverse community, I think really helps open everyone up to the idea that there is no such thing as no, or I can't do this. There is always a way, and we really want to explore that as a company. TechShop has brought something new. I don't want to say that it's not the first makerspace. Gosh, there have been so many other makerspaces. And it's amazing because this is the new industrial revolution. The maker movement is the new industrial revolution. We're moving into this time where, no longer do we have to pay tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars prototyping or, oh gosh, I would love my own business, but it's too much money. No more of that.
Right.
Heck no.
Right.
Now, anyone can do that.
And what I love about this is so cool, is that TechShop, as St. Louis is already in this innovative, collaborative type of environment. And TechShop really envelops those folks who are creatives, puts them into an environment where they can be collaborative, where they can also, what is one of our venture cafes director, he always says it's the serendipitous collisions,
yes,
that occur, because you could be there thinking about making one thing and learn something from somebody else, maybe about how to improve it and that iteration goes pretty quickly instead of it being months or years to iterate.
Absolutely.
So,
exactly.
Proximity matters.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, that's one thing I always tell my members when they come through. Talk to the person next to you. Seriously. Open yourself up to this community and it will give so much back. There have been amazing relationships and networking that has happened just in our member hub area, which is, we have these large work tables and it's a first come, first serve. You sit your butt down and you start working on your project. Just do what you got to do. And it's amazing. It's almost like this hive and you have all these bees, these little worker bees who are coming through and they're all interacting. What are you doing? What are you doing? And it's amazing. I mean, it's so much fun to watch this buzz, if you will.
One of the things that I wanted to find out, because TechShop has other locations, how did you guys choose St. Louis as your 9th location?
Yeah. It's a great question. We've always wanted to be a part of the St. Louis innovation community. It's been on our radar for a very long time.
That's exciting to hear.
It is. I know. We love St. Louis. It was really thanks to Cortex, and then Cortex introduced us to Wash U. I mean, we have so many partners here in the community that have really supported TechShop, but Cortex, I personally couldn't thank them enough. What Dennis Lauer has done in this community is honestly breathtaking. And I'm not saying just for TechShop, but for this innovative community to just explode here in St. Louis is awesome. And now I'm noticing other cities, other people from other parts of the country are like, whoa, St. Louis.
Putting it on the map.
Yeah, putting it on the map. So Cortex, really, they're the biggest reason why we're here. So huge shout out to them for bringing TechShop in. We're very happy. Yeah.
Well, we'll have you tell us more about how wonderful we are in just a moment, but we're going to take a brief break and then we'll come back and continue that conversation.
How do you find Alive and Well from where you are?
I had a head injury at 24. I was involved in a pickup game of basketball, and I took a elbow to the forehead. I'm totally blind.
Start from where you are.
And so I decided that I'm going to be myself and keep moving forward and go for it. Keep fighting. Yeah, if I can, you can.
You deserve to be alive and well. Learn more at aliveandwellstl.com.
How you doing? I'm Keith Turner with Turn Group Technologies, and thinking entrepreneurially means solving problems for clients, plain and simple.
So we're back with Emily, and we're talking about how wonderful St. Louis is. All joking aside, it's always encouraging to know that folks outside of the region have taken note of what's going on here
Yes.
because it is very exciting. And you're coming from where most of us aspire to be. Silicon Valley is this sort of mirage on the hill, so to speak. But by virtue of having been there, you've seen how TechShop could iterate over time as a space and as a home for makers, entrepreneurs. Have you actually seen folks move from being a maker DIY to realizing they have a viable business model?
Oh, absolutely. I have many members who have accidentally gone down that path. My members in San Francisco, they are just absolutely amazing. That's also why I can't wait to get to know my St. Louis members. But, we've noticed that some of the coolest companies have just come out of a personal need. If you find that you need something and you make it, whatever it is, there's probably 10 other people behind you that have been looking for the same thing. 10 other people behind them also looking for the same thing. One of the biggest examples, of course, would be Square. Jim McKelvey, he needed something easy to be able to have his transactions. And that was key. That was so fundamental for our time in the way apps were shaping what we do every day. And so there he made Square, actually, in our tech shop. His first prototypes were at TechShop. I mean, how cool is that? And look at how successgal it is. It was just a personal need. Yeah, everyone's swiping. It's true.
And some of the posters I saw when we walked through on the preview, there a guy who's doing a customized motorized skateboard business, other folks who are doing almost what I would consider professional crafting and those things. So if I go down that path, if I turn a hobby into a company, do I have to leave TechShop, or is that someplace where I can actually grow my business?
You could absolutely grow your business at TechShop. There are some people who grow and end up having to manufacture so much that we are too small for them. But I have a member in San Francisco, Linnea Oliver, and she just makes the most beautiful earrings and jewelry ever. I mean, it's really gorgeous stuff. And she's been able to keep up her production in our shop. I mean, fortunately, she actually was able to save up enough to buy her own laser cutter, which she has at home. So that's always really exciting when you have a member that has become so successful that they can start purchasing some of this awesome
scaling
equipment. Yeah,
I
they
think
are.
That's really key, too, because a lot of small business owners, sometimes, especially if they're looking for capacity to manufacture, they might not have the interest of a large company, for them to fit in, that manufacturing of whatever that good is. So you provide, I think, that need for some of these small business owners to manufacture, get their products out. And like you said, scale their business. So then they are growing their business. So then they can, maybe manufacture themselves or get into a company to really have some real growth opportunities. So
it's beyond prototype in a lot of ways. It's proof of concept and even traction. Because very often the proof is in who paid,
right?
Not who said they were interested. So actually being able to generate revenue, which requires product, is a tremendous hurdle that most people can't overcome, and having this kind of resource can really change that game.
And I think even large companies, because I'd love to hear about it. I understand that opportunities are there for large companies who want to iterate pretty quickly, because I've worked in large organizations and we know how bureaucratic and how long timing might take for something to be turned around. Now they have an opportunity to go in, and their tinkerers or engineers or whoever can come in and turn these prototypes around pretty quickly. I think that's got to be a great opportunity for corporates to lower their costs.
Yes. Actually, we have a lot of companies here in St. Louis who have been coming to TechShop, and they are purchasing memberships for that exact reason. Prototyping can take a very, very long time when you are sending it out. But if you can do it yourself, you know exactly what it is, exactly how it should be done. You know your design. You, of all people, know your design the best. And the turnaround time is much faster when you can do your own personal prototyping. And this is really important with the way technology is growing. There are so many other people that you have to compete with these days. And that's also the beauty of it, right? But because of that, it is very, very important that you don't have to wait. That you know that you can hop into TechShop and you can start your prototype, and that turnaround time will make you more competitive in the industry.
I think it also offers these corporates, too, another added advantage. They're down there with some of these small companies that are innovating. So they get to see what's being produced, and maybe that's an opportunity for them to engage that small business owner with their technology that can be integrated maybe into a larger system. So I think that's another added benefit. So you guys are offering, I think, St. Louis from a technology standpoint and manufacturing standpoint, I think great opportunities.
Absolutely. And you kind of hit the nail on the head. St. Louis is the perfect location for a space like TechShop.
Yeah. We have a tremendous manufacturing base, but it's still incredibly hard to do a prototype or a small batch run at a competitive price. So I think we can't overstate the importance of that. I also, at the Center for Emerging Technologies and in our Square One Bootcamp program in particular, encounter a lot of non-technical founders. So folks who know what they want to see in the world, but don't actually know how to create it, whether that's IT or consumer product or another type of business. So for that non-technical founder, the person who actually doesn't know how to use a 3D printer, but knows if somebody could help them do it, they could create, and Cheryl's raising her hand. So apparently there is a brilliant invention in her brain, but that has not yet had the pleasure of seeing the light of day due to technical difficulties. So given that, if I'm Cheryl and I have the vision of the future in my head, and I'm doing the work to validate my business model from, customer research and feedback, and I get that point where I really just have to see if this thing will work. Can I come in and essentially hire somebody at TechShop, or how does that work?
Yeah. Well, where's the fun in hiring someone?
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. But I think our listeners might include some people who feel a little intimidated.
Right.
Absolutely.
Just by the idea of now I'm going to have to learn how to be
a system.
Or use AutoCAD or whatever the case may
and not
be.
Kill myself
that, I can tell you about it, but I don't have the self-confidence to know that I can do. So how would you help me overcome that and actually be the prototyper?
Absolutely. Well, if I said that, if you're not intimidated, then there is something wrong with you, because this can be very intimidating. I mean, even for myself, I've, essentially in some ways kind of grown up around these machines in the makerspace, but even then it's still intimidating, and that's a good thing. And that's what actually I think helps with our creativity.
Okay, back that wagon up. That's a good thing.
Yes, it's a great thing.
Stop me from doing this.
But that's why we're here, and that's why we have our staff. So we have people called dream consultants. Yes.
Okay.
AKA DCs. And they are absolutely amazing. So what our staff will do for you is they sit you down and you say, hey, what is it? What's in your head, Cheryl? What are you trying to accomplish here? And we will walk you through how TechShop works. We figure out, okay, well, in order to do this, what classes do you need to take? What machines do you need to learn? How can we get you from point A to point B feeling comfortable, taking out that intimidation factor?
I like that. So it's not just giving me a fish, it's teaching me how to fish, right?
Exactly.
Going back to that old parable, right?
Exactly. So it's a lot of fun for us. I mean, for our DCs, it's their own playground because they get to inspire other people, and they themselves in turn are inspired by what members are coming up with. So it's, it's awesome. It's
that's
a twofold.
Really cool.
Yeah. So our staff will make sure that you can go from 0 to 60 in a matter of days.
Wow. So getting that class isn't like if I've missed one that was on Tuesday, I don't have to wait 2-3 months to get that class in.
No.
It's happening that rapidly.
It's happening that rapidly. And that's because we want to get people on the machines. We want them in the shop. We want them creating. If they weren't, then what's the point in TechShop?
So
right?
let me ask you this, because we talk about professionals or adults. What do you guys offer for like kids? Because I would love to get my kid involved in this, especially he thinks stimulating the economy is a good thing. He needs to learn how to do stuff.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
And stimulate the economy.
He needs to be a maker as well as a buyer.
Exactly.
So we actually have really great STEAM programs. So these days we are incorporating arts into STEM, creating it STEAM. So, science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics. We've covered the bases there. So we have now started for the first time STEAM after school programs, which you can sign up for on our website for all 9 locations. It's amazing. Now, typically in the past, we've had summer programs. My favorite story, we had this one summer program in San Francisco last summer, and there was this kid who he was learning how to use the laser cutters. And, he noticed that his mom and sister, they were wearing leather jewelry. I mean, you can see right now I'm wearing this awesome leather bracelet made by a member, right? And he's like, okay, I can do that. So he started using the laser cutters to make acrylic rings and leather bracelets and leather earrings. Wow. Well, his mom took him out to sell it at some local flea market, something like that. I think the kid made almost like $300.
Nice.
Wow.
And his STEAM instructor's like, well, shoot, I taught him how to do that. And he just made more than me from that. Are you kidding? So this kid was 9 years old.
Wow.
What? Isn't that the coolest thing?
That is very cool.
So,
do they need memberships? Do the kids or the parents need memberships? How does that work with the after school program?
Yeah, so they have a membership for the duration of their STEAM program. Many of our kids actually are begging their parents to buy a membership after the program ends because, well, they get hooked on laser cutters and 3D printers. And I think that's actually a really cool thing right there. If we can get kids to understand how this technology works, understanding what innovation is, and that there is no age barrier. There shouldn't be. Anyone can make anything. It's just understanding your tools.
Right.
And what is accessible. And we as a company, as a makerspace, as a community, want to make it as accessible as possible for everyone.
Well, I love the fact that, you're having these kids going back to what your dad did. They're finding solutions. It's all about critical thinking skills. It's all about, and I love the entrepreneurial bent to that too. He went out and he made some money with that. So I think it's a great opportunity. And we're happy that you're here because it seems like you're offering opportunity for young people, for people of all ages, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So we've been talking a lot about TechShop because we know where it is. But could you tell us, Emily, where is TechShop in the physical sense? And then how can we learn more about it so that as our listeners get excited about the opportunity, they can find you?
Absolutely. TechShop. The address, 4260 Forest Park Avenue. So we're on the corner of Forest Park and Boyle Avenue in the Cortex Innovation Center. It's an awesome place. Please come by and I will personally give you a tour. But you can also learn more about us on our website. We got www.techshop.com. And there you can actually look at our calendars or schedule of classes for not just St. Louis, but for our other locations. See what's happening in other parts of the country. Cool. Yeah, it's great. And then follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We're around.
Great.
Yeah.
And we always like to leave our listeners with a tidbit, something if today they're excited and they want to move forward, or if you've just piqued their interest. So what would you say to somebody who's really trying to stretch their thinking and be more entrepreneurial and more innovative? What could I do today, even before I get to TechShop, to stretch that muscle?
Start talking to people, reach out. And I know it sounds, we all say that, network. But honestly, in this maker community, the biggest asset you have are the other people in the community, because there are so many amazing minds from so many different backgrounds that they are the educators. Your fellow member will probably be one of your most inspirational mentors. So if you're interested in making something, start talking to people, reach out to the community. And then
stop by your place.
Stop by TechShop,
Right.
you know, and I will be more than happy to introduce you to other people in the community who are building, creating, you know, just making their dreams.
As
That's
I
it.
always say,
Awesome.
if you're not networking, you're not working.
There you
Mm-hmm.
go. Well, that's fabulous. So I want to thank Emily for spending time with
Yes,
us.
thank you, Emily.
Introducing so many people to TechShop and welcoming us to explore all of the interesting tools, techniques, people, opportunities that exist there.
And welcome to St. Louis.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I am
Yes.
so happy. I
And
love
really
it
talk
here.
to us afterwards about where to eat and all that
Yes.
other good
Oh
stuff.
my gosh.
foodies.
Since
Hot
you've already
wings.
gotten
That's my
settled in
favorite.
on other parts of, you can teach us how to use the TechShop equipment. We'll teach
She
you
can teach you.
where to eat. Okay. Anyhow,
I'll have to take
with
the
that
class.
in mind, we want to make sure that people remember to look for new episodes of Entrepreneurially Thinking on their favorite streaming platforms and to give us a 5-star rating so that others can find the content that you love. You can find the show notes and information about our guests on entrepreneuriallythinking.com. Follow us at ETHINKSTL. So we want to thank Emily for being with us.
Yes,
for
thank you, Emily.
Oh, thank you.
introducing
ladies.
us to all of the opportunities that exist both within TechShop, but really the mindset of a maker and encouraging us to get out and be entrepreneurial.
Yes. Thanks so much.
Thank you. This was a pleasure.
Changing the way you view new ventures, igniting your thinking about entrepreneurship. It's Entrepreneurially Thinking. Get connected and discover more. Visit our website for show notes, resources, information about our guests, upcoming events, and of course, all your favorite episodes. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them for us in the comment sections and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes. The best way to show love is to share. Let everybody know that you're thinking entrepreneurially. So visit our website, entrepreneuriallythinking.com. Hashtag ETHINKSTL. Entrepreneurially Thinking is another positive production of RareGem Productions. Thanks for listening.